Okay, we are still under theme 1 of Physiology of Flowering Plants. We are now at the 5th chapter, Responses in Plants, where in this chapter there are 3 subtopics. The first one, types of responses. Okay, number 2, phytohormones or the plant hormones, and also its application in agriculture. EM technology. Have you heard of these before? So effective microorganisms are mixed cultures of anaerobic microorganisms that are used in agricultural and also livestock industries. And the purpose is to increase the quality and yield production. Okay, yeast is one of the many microorganisms that is present in the EM mixed. Yeast is able to produce hormones and enzymes which serve as bioactive substances, which is able to increase the cell division activities in plant and also the root cells, also in increasing the rate of photosynthesis in plants, hence stimulating more production of flowers and fruits. So in this chapter, we're looking at the hormones, the plant hormones. Okay, so here in the keywords, auxin, ethylene, cytokinin, they are examples of phytohormones. So other terms here like photonasty, phototropism, nastic movement, tropism movement. Okay, these are the types of responses in plants. So let's look at the first one, 5.1, which is on the responses, types of responses. Okay, which actually you have learned about it in Form 3, okay, when we discuss tropism and also nastic responses. So normally plant response to surrounding stimuli, they are known as the growth responses. Okay, plants' response to surrounding stimuli are known as the growth responses. So there are 2 types, namely tropism responses and also nastic responses. Okay, plants like humans and animals, they also respond to the changes in the surroundings. So changes here means the stimulus. So what stimulates the plants to respond? So you have to look at the different types of the stimulus. Okay, so here in this picture, these 2 students, they are observing this plant. Okay, and it seems that the shoots of the plant, the leaves, are pointing towards the window. Okay, so to say that this plant is growing towards the window. And another student responded here saying that this plant is exhibiting phototropism. So that means it is responding to photo. Photo here refers to light. So light is the stimulus in this case. Okay, so the shoots, since they are growing towards the light stimulus, so to be specific, these shoots of the plant is exhibiting positive phototropism. Okay, so let's look at the types of plants responses. The first one we'll discuss about tropism responses first. Okay, they are the responses of certain parts of the plant, okay, such as the roots and the shoots that responds towards or away from a stimulus. Okay, to whether it is towards or away from a changes in the surroundings. So there are several types here. We have 5 types that we are going to look into it one by one. Okay, so let's look at the terms itself. The word tropism actually originates from Greek word tropos, which means turning. Okay, so this picture here is showing the roots growing downwards. So that means growing towards the pull of gravity. So in other words, roots are showing positive geotropism. Okay, let's revise. This is a plant, and we're looking at 2 systems over here. When we say shoot system, okay, they are the ones that is responsible in producing sugars by means of photosynthesis. Okay, because the shoots consist of the leaves being the main organ of photosynthesis. Also, shoot system is able to carry out reproduction because flowers is the organ of reproduction in plants. Okay, for root system, this is it, which function to anchors the plant and to penetrates the soil and absorbs water and minerals, and some of it also serve as storage or food storage. Okay, organs for food storage. Okay, let's look at the general characteristics of tropism. First, the response is permanent and it is influenced by the plant hormone, so PP. Okay, the second characteristic is that the response is slow and therefore it is not apparent because of the slow response. Tidak ketara. Okay, tidak jelas dia punya gerak balas itu. Okay, so the third one is that the response direction is dependent on the direction of the stimulus. And this brings us into these two branching, yeah, positive tropism, which means growth of certain parts of the plants towards direction of the stimulus. If it is away from the stimulus, then we call it as the negative tropism. Okay, so let's look at the first type of tropism, and that is Tecmotropism, which is the plant response to touch. So T, touched. So tendrils exhibit positive Tecmotropism. So these are showing the tendrils. You see that it's coiling or wrapping around this, what do you call this, dawai over here. So there's object for it to coil around. Okay, objects such as it may be wooden stick or something which is rigid and tough. Why? For support. Okay, so it is by means of support, because these plants, they are the herbaceous plants, they are non-woody plants, and therefore they do not depend on their stem, which is soft, for support, and yet they need to grow up high, okay, so to be able to obtain sunlight, and therefore they need to depend or coil around something in order to enable them to climb up higher. So that's the significance of Tecmotropism in plants. Okay, the second types of tropisms is Geotropism, which is the plant response to gravity. So the shoots here on top is showing negative Geotropism. So that means the shoots is growing away from gravity, and the roots is showing positive Geotropism because you see the roots are growing downwards. That means towards the pull of gravity. Okay, so the third type of tropism is Hydrotropism, okay, which is the plant response to water. And again, the roots here, they are showing positive Hydrotropism because they grow towards water. And what is the significance for that? Okay, you know that the roots, they are the main organs for absorption of water and mineral salts, and therefore they always seek the source of water. They always go downwards, and where water is there, they not necessarily downwards. Whenever there is water, the roots will grow towards that because they need the water source. And again, you know, water is very essential in photosynthesis, okay, of green plants. Okay, for phototropism, the fourth type is the plant response to light. Okay, you must be very familiar with this already. Okay, this is the leaves, the shoots over here, the leaves being the main organ of photosynthesis, always seek for sunlight because of photosynthesis. So you see the shoots are showing positive phototropism, grow towards light. Light is very essential in photosynthesis. Okay, as you remember, the light dependent stage or reaction in photosynthesis where green plants is able to convert light to chemical energy. Green plants are the only producer in the food chain. Okay, the fourth type of response is chemotropism, which is the plant's response to chemical. Alright, so again you see here the roots is the one. Okay, the roots is showing positive chemotropism when they grow towards the mineral salts. Okay, because they need these mineral salts or the nutrients for growth, for their healthy growth. Okay. Meanwhile, you can see also roots is the one showing negative chemotropism when they grow away from the chemical substances such as poison. That means whenever those chemical substances are non-favorable, they will retreat from it. Okay, they will move away from it. Okay, so the second type of plant response is nestic responses, which is non-directional growth responses. Again, there are 5 of them, okay, which we will be looking into it one by one. But before that, let's look at the characteristics, the general characteristics of the nestic responses. So the first one, it says not all nestic responses are growth responses. Unlike tropism, all of them are growth responses. Okay, number 2, this is opposite to tropism just now, because the response here in nested responses is quicker and it is more apparent because it is quick. So it seems lebih jelas, lebih ketara, because you get to see the changes, the immediate response, okay, as compared to tropism responses. Okay, and then the third one, it says some nested responses are intended for survival. Okay, so let's look into it one by one. The first one is photonasty. So by the name photo, you know that this is a response to light. So typically, flower petals are the one engaged in photonasty. So this is the picture showing the Japanese roses, which open early in the morning. But then when it is nighttime, it starts closing. So these Japanese rose, the petals of these flowers engaged in photonasty. Okay, so this is a growth movement in plants. Other examples are dandelion flower. Okay, the yellow ones over here, the moonflower, the white one, and also here at the left-hand side, that's the Cestrum nocturnum flower. Okay, this is the first type of nestic movement, nestic responses. Okay, the second nestic responses is the plant's response that occur due to mechanical stimulus, shock, touched, wind, raindrops. Okay, even seismonesty responses can be seen on leaves, okay, on the stigma and also stamens. Still remember what's the stigma and also stamens? They are the stamen, male reproductive organs, male reproductive parts. Okay, whereas stigma is the female reproductive parts in a flower. Okay, so there's a question over here. What happens if you touch the mimosa plant? This is the mimosa plant ataupun pokok semalu. When you touch it, upon touching, immediately you can see that the leaves are closing. So that's what we meant for when we say the second point over here, that the response is quick and it is more apparent. Okay, that's a seismonasty. Okay, the third one is nyctinasty, which is a circadian rhythm that responds towards the onset of darkness. Okay, somewhat similar to photonasty, but then it's discussed as a different types of nestic responses. So normally the examples given here, they are the leaves of the ligum plants, as you can see here at the right hand side. Okay, this is the river tamarind, which closes the leaves at night and it will unfold them during daytime. So like it is able to detect the onset of darkness. So this is a circadian rhythm. Okay, nyctinasty plants which close up at night. So it seems like they're sleeping. But when it is daytime, when there is light, then it opens up. Okay, the fourth Yeah, this is the one. The fourth response, nestic response, is the plant's response towards changes in the surrounding temperature. Okay, thermal here comes from the word thermal, which means heat. Okay, heat. So when heat is present, the temperature is higher as compared to when there is not much heat. Okay, so that's why it is called thermonasty. For example, tulips. This flower, it closes and it opens when there is changes in the surrounding temperature. Okay, so it opens when there is increase in the temperature, and it is going to close when the temperature drops. Okay, the fifth one is Tecmotropism. Just now we have Tecmotropism. So just now Tecmotropism is the plant's response to touch, and Tecmotropism is plant's response towards vibration. Actually, somewhat similar. Okay, so the example here is the Venus flytrap. So this is a carnivorous plant, okay, which the exerted stimulus, for example, insects around here that is flying very nearby to this plant. Okay, so this plant detected vibration. What's going to happen is that it's going to clamp, okay, to shut the leaves, okay, and therefore able to trap the insect within it. Okay, so the insect will die inside, and then it is going to serve as nitrogen supplies for these plants, these carnivorous plants, because they usually thrive at the soil which has lack of these nutrients or the nitrogen supply. Okay, so the task here is for you to compare and contrast between these two types of plant responses, that's tropism and also nestic responses.